quantum, I've been searching in the quantum, Hey, oh, Hello, everybody. I hope everyone's keeping blessed. Welcome back to another episode of the Quantum Podcast by Will's Way. Hope everyone's feeling good. Hope everyone's feeling positive today. I just want to thank you all for really just adopting the podcast. We've had now over 300 downloads on all 5 episodes that we've released so far. I've had people leave reviews. I've had so many people say they've started meditation. I've had a few people say that they're really sort of like looking into law of attraction. And do you know what? Man, it just means the world to me. It means the absolute world to me because, it doesn't matter about the numbers here. Like, I never really, I didn't really do this just to get recognition in the way of like my ego or try to sort of like show myself off in a position to be able to like be better than anyone else. This is what this is not about. It's sort of about me just trying to like share my experiences, and if people can learn from like what I've done, even if it's on a small scale, it just makes all of the difference. And it just comes back down to this beautiful quote that I heard today, and it's by Albert Einstein, that not everything that can be counted counts, and not everything that counts can be counted. And how deep is that? Because I feel like a lot of the time we're looking at numbers, and I think a lot of the time there's always some sort of metric we're trying to measure. Whether that's money in your bank account, whether that's views on your videos. Say, for example, you're an artist, that's how many followers you've got on Instagram. There's always a number there. And do you know what? Not everything that can be counted in terms of a metric actually counts. Like, just because you've got a lot of followers on Instagram, it doesn't measure, does it, how deep your connection is with your audience? You know what I mean? Like, you could have 100,000 people, it could easily be an orchestrated, and they could have bought these followers, and they may not be really, how deep is the connection with the followers? You know what I mean? I feel like they're the things that are behind like the scenes that are not measured. And the crazy thing is our perception to these things as well. Just we see the exterior, and I think the appearance is always the first thing that we always judge. And the people say don't judge a book by its cover, but generally people do. That's just how we are as human beings. You know what I mean? We see someone with a high follower count, and we automatically have this distinction of, it potentially is better, but we don't see the other metrics behind it. We don't see how many people they touch. We don't see how valuable the information is in terms of how it's changed other people's lives. And this is a really perfect example for this podcast, because I may say like 300 downloads. It's not really massive amount in the grand scheme of things, but in reality is, I've had sort of 4 or 5 people message me saying it's really sort of they're trying these things. And what really sort of gives me hope and gives me a really great internal feeling is the fact that it's not even my advice that's gonna sort of change their life. It's their own perception. It's their own like journey. Like, sometimes you just need to make a small pivot and like hear a piece of information that you sort of need at the time, and it can help you massively, and it can put you on this other path where you start to attract all this other stuff around you, and you can start to just because you're placing your attention now on something different, means that your thoughts are actually now attracting new things in a different way, because you're now aware of something that you wasn't aware of before. And that's generally how law of attraction is beautiful, really. And it's just about the awareness of understanding like what we want initially. And this is really what today's podcast is, not just purely about law of attraction, but it's related in a way, because I feel like the relationship we have with ourselves, the dialogue that we have with ourselves, the conversations that we have with ourselves are the most important conversations that we'll ever have. And generally we seem to be so concerned and worried about how we talk to other people and how they perceive us, but the real conversation that we have with ourselves has the biggest effect in terms of what we believe. You know what I mean? And our paradigms are the real things that transmute that subconscious thought energy to infinite intelligence, to the universe, I like to call it, which then give us our surroundings in terms of what we attract. So we have to really be careful with the dialogue we talk to ourselves with, on a daily, because a lot of the time it can be very self-sabotaging, and we don't even seem to realize it. It's almost like the counter voice inside of our heads. When you're sort of approaching something or you're trying to do something, you've always got that little voice saying, why are you doing this for? This is too hard, this is too difficult. Because our brains are always trying to take us away from that painful temporary pain and try to drive us towards pleasure, which is us giving in to certain things or not working as hard in certain circumstances so we can give up and just, not feel the pain. But we need to go through that pain to grow initially. It's usually the initial pain that takes us to the destination that is more pleasurable. You know what I mean? And generally it's a tenfold experience. You know, that you go through the pain first. It's like going for a run in the morning early. You know what I mean? You don't want to get up. You don't want to do it. You know what I mean? It's painful getting out of bed. But when you're doing it, you feel good. And afterwards, it's just like, the reward is there. So it's like the initial pain as well. So this week's podcast is about self-love. And it's so important. This subject is massively, because I think we all can get in our own way. You know what I mean? And we can all get in our own way in terms of like the way we talk to ourselves and the way we degrade ourselves or put ourselves down. And it's crazy because you would never do that to another person. You know, I hope you wouldn't anyway. Do you know what I mean? You'd never really feel good about putting someone else down. So why do we do it to ourselves all the time? That's a big question that we need to sort of ask ourselves and look internally at. And sometimes we don't even realise it's so automatic. And we have these self-sabotaging behaviours that we don't even realise are there. So it's just having the awareness of like, oh my God, how am I talking to myself? Like, what relationship do I have with myself? Why am I putting myself down all the time? And, you know, sometimes we can never control, we can't always have positive thoughts. You know, life is yin and yang, I like to say. Like, life is negative and positive. We can't always be feeling good. We can't always have, you know, like external circumstances happen in our favour. But it's the way we react to them that generally changes the whole makeup of everything that is around us. So I'm really going to just get into some really cool life hacks, basically, to be able to give ourselves some more self-love. And everyone can do these. It's simple. You know what I mean? But I think, again, it's just raising the awareness that we need to maybe like talk to ourselves differently if we're feeling like we've got low self-esteem. And low self-esteem comes from within. It's self-esteem. It's like that inspiration that gets us up in the morning to be able to go carry our task out with passion. And a lot of the time, if we're feeling like we've got low energy, it's the fact that we're not confident in the fact that we can achieve these things and go out and actually go get these things, because we have this self-limiting doubts on ourselves. And that stems from our conversations that we have with ourselves, inside the self, and self-love. So start of each day, like, try telling yourself something really positive, like how well you've handled a situation the day before, or how gorgeous you look. You know what I mean? Try look in the mirror, right, and just look at the body you've been given and gifted. Right, look at the face that you've been gifted, your features, and really just say this is unique and it's authentic and it's me, it's different. Like, a lot of the time I feel like we're always trying to look like someone else or try to compete with a certain model that we've seen in a certain image that we perceive to be better than what we are. That's so damaging to ourselves. You know, we are authentic people. There's no one that looks like you. Like, whenever you look in the mirror, there's no one that has the same features as you. That's your authenticity. That's your perfect imperfections. John Legend said it in the song where, your perfect imperfections. I love that song because it's so true, because them imperfections make you so beautiful. Like, there's certain things about my partner, I just love her facial features, and there's such unique things about her and how she looks. It's just what I love. It just makes her so perfect to me. You know what I mean? And these things is that, other people you may look in the mirror and you may not like these features, but then other people love them because they're authentic. But it's just the perception of it. So really try to look yourself in the mirror and tell you, embody that feeling of telling yourself you look good, you feel good. Like, tell yourself that. It's a great affirmation. Do you know what I'm saying? To be able to start the day with. Do you know what I'm saying? Every time everyone looks in the mirror, man. When we go brush our teeth, we go look in the mirror. Like, tell yourself you look good today. You're looking smart, like, always speak to yourself in the third person, just like your inner voice does to you when it puts itself down, but flip it, create it positively. Do you know what I mean? And another one is like, eat some good food and drink that nourishes your body. Do you know what I mean? Like, the thing is, it's very easy to fall into the trap when we eat crap food, is to feel guilt. You know what I mean? The pleasure's so there, it's quick and easy, isn't it? The quick, easy pleasure, like from fast food, can come instantly. We can eat it with, wow, we're loving it, the pleasure's there. We're getting this dopamine like reflex from our brain with this pleasure chemical of just like, oh my God, it's love, it's nice, it's good. But then you'll find, pain and pleasure is a very funny thing, right? When you're feeling pleasure, at some point you're gonna go dip down into the pain. It's just so inevitable. It's always going to happen. It's like a pendulum. You can't swing the pleasure ball one way without the pain coming, And it's the same as well with the pain pushing it forward in terms of going for a run, and then the pleasure sort of comes afterwards. So it all depends on which way you're pushing the pendulum. Do you know what I mean? So, like, remember, like, after that meal you've got, you're going to feel guilty. You're going to feel lethargic. and you know what I mean, you may have put a few pounds on from eating crap from the week, and it's going to give you that, it's going to make you feel less, it's going to make you feel inadequate, you know what I'm saying? So we can control that element, do you know what I mean? We can control what we eat and try to be a bit mindful about how you're eating. And like sometimes I feel like a lot of the time we'll eat because it'll be we may be a bit stressed or something like that, and it's always so easy just to be able to have a quick release by releasing pleasure by eating. But try to switch that up a bit by maybe doing a few breathing exercises if you feel stressed. And trust me, once you start replacing that, you'll start to feel a lot better, and as well you'll feel less guilty, you know what I mean, about what you're doing, So yeah, and number 3, I would say move around. Like try to keep active. Like it's so important to try to keep, because I think once you've gone for a run, you feel good anyway, because your blood is circulating, pumping around your body. It doesn't even have to be a run. It could be a 7-minute workout. There's an app on my phone called 7-Minute Workout. It's a boss app, you know what I mean? Like there's no excuse. Like people say, I ain't got time to work out. There's 7 minutes of your day. You quickly bang it on, and you're getting sweating, you're getting hot and sweaty, and after that 7 minutes, you feel good. You feel a little bit toned as well, because you're doing some press ups, you're doing sit ups, you're doing all these different type of exercises, and you just feel pumped up. You know what I'm saying? And afterwards as well, you're gonna feel good. Because like if you do that regularly as well, after the end of the week, you're gonna look in that mirror again, and you're gonna look at yourself, and you're gonna be like, oh my god, I'm looking better now. The self-love is gonna start to increase. So the self-love thing, I think, all starts from you, in terms of taking some small actions. Do you know what I mean? That compound to a bigger picture. You're not gonna be able to possibly feel this, like I said, with just like with the auto-suggestion stuff, when you're placing positive affirmations, you're trying to like really program that part of your brain. It's not going to happen in a day. You know what I'm saying? This has got to be something that happens over time. But you know what? Make this start today, because I can tell you, the quicker you start, the more you're going to sort of start to embody that self-love and feel more confident, and the more things you're going to be able to attract in your life, because you're feeling good. And remember, everything that we transmute in terms of like the quantum world, in terms of like the manifestation, is our feelings and our emotions. You know what I mean? So if we're feeling better, I can guarantee, like, you know what I mean, you're going to be able to attract that feeling and more things to feel good for, because you're feeling good. You know what I mean? So this is a real cool cycle that we need to get ourselves into if you're not feeling great. Do you know what I mean? And the next one, I'd say, don't believe everything that pops into your brain, because we've got this dialogue as well. We've got this inner critic inside of us, keeping us small and safe and away from pain. And away, like, it's just this fearful little thing that's so annoying. And we've all got it, man. I've got it as well. It's all, every time you're like posed with an opportunity for a decision, you're always got this little guy pop up in your head, and it says, no, don't do it, because what if this happens, and the what ifs, and all the what ifs come circling through your brain again. Don't believe everything that says, because you can't ever get rid of this inner critic. You will never will. We are human beings. It's a part of our nature, really. You know what I mean? It's a part of our defensive system as well, in terms of like trying to protect us in a way as well. But sometimes it's so overexerted to the point where we don't actually go out and take any risk or do anything. You know what I mean? And this inner critic can be so annoying. You know what I mean? And it keeps us so small. You know what I mean? We need to expand and be bigger in our thoughts and more creative. And the downside to that, if you listen to this voice all the time, it stops us from living that full potential to where we go, because we may have some great ideas, and we may have our purpose trying to burst out of us, but if that fear is then holding us back, what comes in that form of that inner voice, it's very difficult for us to move forward. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not, it's never really going to be able to propel you towards your dreams. You know what I mean? Because it's like this doubter you've got constantly there telling you can't do it. You know what I mean? And the thing is, the more you oppose this thought, the smaller it gets, and the more powerful you get. So it's trying to like give power to yourself and take away power from that inner negativity that's constantly trying to rule and take your life. You know what I'm saying? Like, honestly, you're worth more, guys. Like, that voice is always going to be there, and it's not right. Remember, that's the negative part of your brain trying to protect you and trying to keep you in your comfort zone, because it doesn't want to feel temporary pain. And sometimes we have to move towards that pain quickly, initially, and generally what we find is it's not even painful. It's like this false perception of what we think is going to be painful, but the fact is, when we actually do it, it's not even that bad. And the whole idea that you've got yourself, like this thought has got in the way of you doing something quite simple is just insanity, honestly. Number 5, surround yourself with people who love and encourage you. And this is so important. Like, let them remind you how amazing you are. Like, trust me, I've had friends in the past that just didn't do this. You know what I mean? I've struggled, like, where, you know what I mean, where you're trying to, like, you feel so good about a certain idea and you've got this aspiration or dream that you're really trying to project, and when they sort of react in a really like negative way, and in the way that you thought they weren't going to react, it's really downheartening. Do you know what? And it really plays on your mind, especially if they're close to you, because you think, oh, why am I doing the right thing? You start to question yourself in terms of what you're doing. And it doesn't come from your own fear and insecurities. It comes from theirs. And that energy really does have a massive impact on you. So it's their fears basically being brought out into reality, and they're basically exerting that onto you in terms of maybe a negative response. So they may not be so positive with what they say. They might say, well, what if this happens, or what this goes wrong? And they may cover that up like they're concerned and worried. But the reality is, if you've got a friend that really believes in you and is a real true friend, they should be uplifting. They should be really sort of happy for you. They should really be encouraging you. And they're the people that you need around you in your life. And it's very difficult when you've especially when you've grown up with a certain crowd of people that you've been really close with back in the day and back in the past, but sometimes your dreams get a little bit bigger than what theirs are, and they stay in comfort zones. It's very difficult, and you have to make that decision really. Do you want to, constantly have them in your life when they're never really serving you any positive justice, and they don't really want you to surpass where they are? They're not happy for you where you go. And it's so important to be able to surround yourself with people that encourage you. Because I promise you, like, when you're around so many people that are so negative, it's like as well, like when you're around negative parents as well, and you've got your dreams and aspirations and they don't believe in you, it can be crushing. It can crush you. Do you know what I mean? It can really like be so difficult to live in them situations, because your purpose and your passion is like your potential of life, and you have to pursue that. Because if you don't, you will not feel like fulfilled in your life. You know what I mean? You need to go pursue it, whether you fail or succeed or not. You need to try. You know what I mean? And when people are trying to say, no, it's not the right thing, you do this, and trying to live your life for you, the only thing that's going to happen is going to build up this higher wall of resentment. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, yeah, you've got to make a really difficult, and in life, man, we meet a lot of people in life, and not everybody is supposed to be in it. Do you know what I mean? And there's no disrespect to anyone. It's just like certain people don't resonate with what you believe and your values. And there's some people that won't encourage you. Do you know what I mean? To where you got to go. And the majority of people on your path and journey, probably won't. And that's a sad thing, but the reality is, as long as you know inside where you're going, and if you've got this self-love for yourself to be able to have that confidence, it doesn't matter what anyone says anyway, because you've got this driver inside of you that's going to be able to take it to the next level. Do you know what I'm saying? So yeah, surround yourself with people that love you. Number 6, stop the comparisons with other people. There's no one on this planet who is you. There's no one's life that is better than yours. Quoted from J. Cole, Love Yours. That song changed my bloody life, man. I'll tell you, when I listened to that, it really drummed into me. Like, wow, how powerful. There's no one's life that is better than your life. Your life is authentic to your purpose and who you are and what you do. You should feel so special and so blessed that you are programmed so differently to absolutely every single person on this planet. You are not them. You have your own special journey. You have your own special characteristics. You have your own special dharma, which is your purpose in life and passion. So why is it all the time we're comparing us to other people on these screens of Instagram, thinking, oh, they've got this amount of followers, oh, they're loved, they're loved so much, why am I not loved? Like, end of the day, it doesn't matter about amounts in terms of what metrics can measure. You still have an impact on the people around you and the people that love you. Like, imagine if you've got kids and people, like, you're the most important person in their life. Like, they will love you more than anyone else. They will look up to you, and you will be their guide through them early stages of their life. And it's so important. And on that deeper level, look at the responsibility you've got to be able to bring a child up into this world. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's such a big responsibility, and that's an authentic responsibility that is carried by you and no one else. You know what I mean? So remember to really empower yourself with that type of, outlook, and never compare yourself. Like, say even if you're in the same profession as someone else, right? And they are like potentially, climbing up the ladder quicker than you are. Don't ever compare your journey with theirs, because you're on a different path. Like, remember, the time will align when it aligns. Everybody is due their evolutionary advancement in different areas. Remember, you may have some lessons that you need to learn before you get to the stage. It's not meaning to say you're going to be less successful than the other person. It may turn around 5 years, 10 years down the line that you surpass this person in wealth, health, and success tenfold. But the initial now doesn't allow you to, because there's stuff you need to learn. Don't ever compare your journeys like in the present moment, and always be grateful for your lessons you learn in the present moment. So if you're not advancing as quickly, but you know that you're learning and you're learning some valuable life lessons, it's so important. Because remember, like, I think it's important for us to learn these lessons before we gain any success or wealth, because it can be very dangerous to have different ideals when we get it without the mindset to be able to fortify the success and fortify the wealth and really prolong it and understand what it means, and understand that, you know, really not to be attached to the ego when we get to that status. Because the fact is, if we're not ready or prepared for that success, we could lose it all. And it's so important. You need to be so prepared to be able to have the mindset for success when it happens, because trust me, the self-sabotaging behavior, if you're not in line with it, and remember, when things do start to work out for you and money does start to roll into your life, it's even more of a challenge, because remember, you've got more access to be able to go volatile. You know what I mean? So you got to be able to, you got to be able to control that element, and that control comes with learning, and that control comes with patience as well, my friend. So yeah, stop comparing yourself. Everyone is on their own journey, and just because like someone else is successful, it doesn't take away from your success either. And you've got to be grateful, and you've got to be happy for other people when they get there, because remember, you will get there one day as well. You know what I mean? And that's the whole point. But the more envy you are, and the more envious you feel in terms of negative emotions towards other people, just for fulfilling their path and their life path, will really have a profound effect on yours, and it will stop you from getting to yours quicker. I tell you now. So please, people, try to just share as much love as possible, and remember, as long as you're living your purpose, it doesn't matter when you get it. Just know that it will pass and it will come, and when it comes, it'll be the perfect timing. End the toxic relationships that you've got. Like, seriously, anyone that makes you feel less than anything amazing does not deserve to be in your life or around you. And I promise you, this is so true. Like, it doesn't matter whether they're friends from school. It doesn't matter if they've been in your life all your life. If they don't serve you nothing but amazing energy and like beautiful companionship, it's not worth doing. Remember, like, you have to measure, I feel like, the experiences you have with certain people in your life. Because remember, like, if they're not serving you that good energy, if you're not having them like mad, you know, when you have them conversations, like when you're just talking about philosophy with your bro, and you're just talking about these cool concepts of life, and you know, and this flow in the conversation is just so engaged. You know, I've got a couple of Donnies that I can talk to on this philosopher level, and you know what? When we get into these conversations, the time just disintegrates. We go into a quantum state. Time doesn't exist, but that's what you need. You need that type of relationship with people, and if they're not serving you anything more, you know, maybe have a think about, like, why are you wasting your precious time in them circumstances? Because you may be able to use it a lot better, you know, and provide better value for yourself and prosper, man. Number 8, just celebrate, man. Celebrate your wins, no matter how big, no matter how small. And this is so important. Like, be proud of yourself on every single step you've achieved. And this is so important as well. I've got a journal, and every single time it says you complete a small goal, there's like celebration, reward. And even if it's a small reward, like a chocolate bar, like something so simple, like just something that rewards you for all the wins that you have. And I think it's so important to do that, because every time we have a failure, every time we lose something, how bad do we feel? We really embody that, you know what I mean? And it's almost like now we've got to the stage in our lives when we win, like, it's just like, oh no, we got to keep going, we got to keep working hard, we haven't won yet. And like, if you carry on that way, it'll get to a place that you never ever really reward yourself, and you'll never feel like you've accomplished anything, because there's always something bigger to win. So remember always to try to celebrate every single step of the way, and it's going to make you feel good. It's going to give you that self-love that you really need. You know what I'm saying? Number 9, step outside of the step outside of your comfort zone, man. Try something like new. It's incredible, like feeling like the feeling of something that you've not done. You know what I mean? And like, it's really cool to feel like you've achieved something and you didn't know that you could do it before. And I'm gonna give you an example of this. Yeah, it was one of my bro's birthdays one year. And he said, can we go to Funky Monkeys? And for you guys, you don't live in Norwich and know what Funky Monkeys is. It's a skating ring. And I've never skated before, bro. I've never skated before, yeah. And I remember I was like, oh man, I can't even skate. And he's like, come, just try it. And I was like, do you know what? I'm going to give it a go, man. I've never skated in my life, right? So I stepped madly out my comfort zone, right? And literally, when I put these skates on, I was falling everywhere, man. Like, my bros were taking a mickey out of me. Like, honestly, they were laughing hard. And it was so funny, man. I fell over on my bum, like, twice. I probably done my coccyx as well, man. That hurt. But still, I didn't give up. You know what I'm saying? And then gradually, I was going around the ring, and I was gradually, like, I was holding on to the side at first, and I had these, like, 5 or 6 year olds whizzing around me, 100 mile per hour. And I was like, gradually going, and gradually like let go of the rail, then gradually sort of went a little bit faster and started going down. Do you know what? I started to get the hang of this, and I just kept practicing and went around like 10 times and 20 times and 30 times, just kept going and going. And do you know what? At the end of the session, I was going around that ring and I learned like how to skate within 2 hours, and the feeling was just absolutely phenomenal. I felt incredible that I learned this, because do you know what? The paradigm before this was like, I can't do it. I can't skate. Like, if someone asked me, oh, shall we go skating? I'll be like, I can't skate. And it's just a paradigm. You keep telling yourself these misbeliefs. The fact is, I could skate. I just needed to learn. So, like, that day taught me such a valuable lesson. And I know it's skating. But, I had a lot of fun. But it wasn't about the actual skating. It was about the fact that I tried something new and the fact that I actually achieved it. And it doesn't matter what it is. It's just that mindset builder. So, like, every single month, try 8 new things. So if you've got a journal, write them down at the start of the month. 8 new things that you want to try. That could be like taekwondo, it could be like tai chi, it could be like a boxing lesson, it could be like, a football match or something like that. Anything active or anything creative, like maybe go art lessons if you've never done that before. You know what I mean? Just like keep experimenting these things, because they say, there's a study said as well, that like the general person only tries 1 new thing per year. Crazy. So imagine this, yeah? Imagine you try 8, yeah, and then you embody them 8 things. Mate, you're like 8 times, more likely to find something you love and do it. And do you know what? Every time these things you do may not be for you, but at least you know then. You know what I mean? And then it's having the conversation with yourself. Did I enjoy that? Did I like that? I really did. What value did it give? It made me feel more calm. It made me feel good. It made me feel self-empowered. Remember, all of these things rub off in terms of our self-love, in terms of our confidence in what we do. Because when we feel valuable, we feel like, we owe it to ourselves to be able to try something new and get creative. How many times do we step into this role in life that is so every single day, 9 to 5-ish, we get up with the same routine, it's routinated, and we'll do this and we'll do that. We never try anything new because we're so caught up in this rhythm, this universal rhythm that's so boring. Like, we need to step out of that a little bit. I'm not saying we have to avoid it, because of course we need to have some sort of structure and plan within our life to make it work like efficiently, but at the same time we need to have that randomness, and that sometimes that random event that we just go, like say for example you want to go to the golf course and hit a few balls, you know what I mean, on your own, randomly. Like how fun. Like, you don't even have to do it with anyone. So everyone can do this, you know what I'm saying? Stepping out your comfort zone is something that, we all need to do. Do you know what I mean? Number 10, embrace all the things that make you different and that makes you special. So all the things that make you like different, all the things that like, are unique to you. So one thing that I do, I'm a rapper and I rap. And like, you've got to love them things that are unique about yourself, because when you do, you start to love your authenticity, and your authenticity is something that no one else has. So what that does with your self-love, it actually empowers you to think, I love this fact that I can do this, and this is my talent, or this is what I love to do, and no one else does. It's trying to give yourself the power. Remember, guys, we're not trying to become narcissistic and love ourselves like to the point where it's ego-based. We're loving ourselves on a spiritual level, and they're so very different. Like, on a narcissistic level, it's more of a view to try to get other people to have a look at us in terms of a surface level. Do you know what I mean? Oh, look how many followers I've got. Oh, look how buff I look in this top. Like my picture. Spiritual self-love is very different in terms of loving yourself for a spiritual identity for who you are and your authenticity. It's so different. Like, honestly, guys, it's so different. Like, obviously, practice self-love. And do you know what? Who cares? Like, throw a selfie out there, have that. But do you know what I mean? When every single photo is a selfie, it's just you and the whole world seems to be centered around you. It's a slightly different type of self-love. So what the self-love I'm talking about is the one that empowers you to be able to, become better and become more fulfilled. Because the more fulfilled you feel and the better you are, the more you serve other people. It's a proven fact. You know what I mean? So the better you feel about yourself, the more you're going to be able to love other people. And it's just such a real thing, because like, the better you're feeling, of course you are, if you feel good, of course you're going to have more gratitude, you're going to be more grateful, which means you're going to give more, you're going to be able to give more to other people, and they're going to see a version of you that loves themselves. Do you know what I mean? That has that spiritual love. And do you know what I mean? That version of yourself that's happy and fulfilled. And trust me, it makes all the difference when you see someone who's really embodied that spiritual self-love. So yeah, embrace the things that make you different, guys. Like, honestly, it's a big one. Do you know what I mean? I realized that beauty, number 11, I realized that beauty can never be defined. Do you know what I mean? It can't be. It's what you see it as. Like, all of these things that like are Photoshop that make us feel like we're not perfect. Like, it's not real. It's not reality. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, remember, camera angles, man. We all know this. You know what I'm saying? You know when you see that picture of someone, it's just like, it looks so good. But then the reality is, that person doesn't really look that way. Everything is being done to look better, glossy. Everything like is now a magazine cover. Do you know what I'm saying? In terms of like, how can we put a cherry on top of this? And we all do it subconsciously, massively. And it's all because of our insecurities in terms of what we feel like we don't want to show the world. But that's a kind of like horrible place to be in. And it's really like, when it becomes automatic to be able to hide the real, essential, true, authentic you, it can cause a lot of depression. It really can. And I think a lot of depression comes from that source of not really being able to accept yourself for who you are. And it's so sad, man. Like, honestly, I feel so bad for the people that don't feel like they can show themselves, because remember, guys, that true self inside of you, that authenticity is so divinely beautiful. It's so perfect. Like, honestly, no one can even like talk on that. No one can put that down, because that is so authentic to who you are. And there's no one on this planet like you. There's a reason why you're here. You've got a special divine purpose, and you've got talents and beauty to be able to, project to the world. Do you know what I mean? So never ever look at the book cover and take it for what it is, because it's false. It's a false sense of reality. Do you know what I mean? And I feel like we're all like, in terms especially something like Instagram. I'm not dissing Instagram. I think it's a great place as well. Like, it's just a vehicle. It can either be used to be like a narcissistic way, or it can be used for a beautiful, uplifting, positive way. There's loads of, end of the day, you're always going to get yin and yang, but it's just the way you perceive it. It's how you perceive these photos. Like, always try to not become insecure and make them feel like you're less because these photos look better than what you think they do. Do you know what I mean? Always like, realize that beauty can't be defined. There's no such thing as something. If someone may have a different perception to what beauty is, remember that everybody has a different perception and way of looking at life. So there's no one set way of saying, oh, that's beautiful, this is not. Like, it's so important to understand that. Do you know what I mean? And take time out. Number 12, take time out to calm your mind every day, breathe and clear your mind, and just try to be you, and just really take time to center yourself in that meditative state. Like, I did a podcast last week on meditation, and it did really explain how to sort of recenter yourself and really give clarity back to your authentic self. And as well in the spiritual laws, the 7 spiritual laws by Deepak Chopra. The first law is like the law of pure potentiality, and that pure potentiality is like your real essence. And meditation is so important for finding your real essence, because when you find it, you're not concerned about trying to fake it, because once you know that real essence of being you and who you are, you'll try to wear that every single day, because it feels so good, because it's unique to you, and it's something that can only be harnessed and taken by you. So take time out every day, really try to meditate, and really try to find that place of pure potentiality that we all have. It's a law of nature. We've all got that place where we can go. Number 14, like, be patient and be persistent. Like, self-love is ever evolving. It's always growing. It's something that needs to be practiced daily. And it can take a lifetime to master. And this is what I say in terms of programming that part of your subconscious brain. You can't do this on Monday and then skip Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then expect to feel great on Sunday. Like, like, guys, it needs to be practiced every day. Get into the habit of doing this, because it will change your life profoundly. Do you know what I mean? And like, really be mindful that like it's always growing. It's always going to get bigger. Like, the more you practice it, the more you do, the more journeys you go on, the more places you see, the more people that you interact with. It's only going to be able to add more of an evolving journey that you're on. Do you know what I mean? Number 15, be mindful of what you think and like feel and want. Like, live your life like every single day that reflects how you really want to feel. And you know what I mean? Like, a lot of the time, remember, like, a lot of our thoughts and feelings are so automatically subconscious that we don't realize that we're so self-sabotaging what we're doing. So it's having the awareness as well, like how we're thinking, how we're feeling, really tap into that law of attraction zone and understand that, like, the more that we, like, degrade ourselves, like, the worse we're going to feel. The more like horrible circumstances we're going to attract where we feel worse, you know. So really try to embody the love, you know what I mean, and feeling good and feeling grateful on a daily basis, and it's going to have a massive effect in terms of what you attract and how you see yourself. And again, that sort of like directly goes back to the self-dialogue that we have with ourselves, you know what I'm saying? Number 16, treat others with love and respect. It makes us feel better about ourselves when we treat others the way that we would want to be treated. And it goes back to the golden rule. Treat others like you would like to be treated. And it always results in the same thing of that oneness and that expression, that fact that everyone that we talk to is a part of one. We're all here on a oneness basis. So when you're projecting bad thoughts and feelings to someone else, you're projecting them back, mirroring them back to yourself, because we're all one. We're all one energy. We're all one infinite being on this earth. Everything is sort of intertwined in this beautiful network of life principle. You know what I mean? So remember, like, when we like show love and respect for other people, it makes us feel good. And the only reason it makes us feel empowered is because we are one. We are sending that love to ourselves by representing love to another person. And that may be really hard to get your head around. And this is why secret envy is never a good thing, and it can always block what you want in terms of law of attraction. So if you've got these volatile emotions, number one is knowing they're even there. You know, a lot of the time it's automatic, like I said again. And once you've got the awareness they are there, you need to start practicing to stop them feelings, because you can't do it overnight. Like, it needs to be something that, if you've been doing it for years upon years, it needs to be programmed out of you. So remember, always try to, you know, treat others with love and respect. And sometimes it can be hard to do. I get it. I understand, like, if someone's been horrible to you, but forgiveness is the root of all success. Because when we start to forgive other people, we start to alleviate the emotions that hold us back in life. And number 17, find something to be grateful for every single day. Gratitude is the most highest feeling of receivership, and it always comes back round. Of course, the more we feel grateful, the more things we'll feel grateful for. It's law of nature again. And it's inevitable that you're always going to have your down days. Of course you are. You're always going to feel down at some point. Remember, it's okay. It's all right, man. Like, don't feel like, oh, I had one down day. Don't feel bad that you've had a down day, man. Feel like it's perfectly normal. Remember, life is yin and yang. Like, it's negative and positive. You're never ever gonna have a fully positive experience, because you wouldn't have life. Like, remember, the atom is actually made up of positive particles and negative particles. If you take out the negative particles, the atom does not exist. Life does not be. So remember, there's always this law of nature that signifies plus and negative. Like, the battery has to flow from plus to negative. The waveform has to go into the positive to come into the negative, to go into the positive as a cycle. You know what I mean? Everything is up and down, but it's the way we relate to when the negative things happen, and it's how we perceive them. Are we really taking the seed of equivalent benefit from these circumstances and times in our life to be able to say, look, this is the lesson, you know what I mean? Rather than seeing it as a detriment, can we use it to fuel, like, ourselves to be able to learn? You know what I'm saying? So being grateful every day just for everything that you do got really, like, keeps you in balance in terms of you're feeling good even when bad stuff is happening. Because it's always like, life is like the seasons. Like, Jim Rohn taught me this, and it's a beautiful quote I listened to on YouTube, that, like, life is like the seasons, man. You're going to get your winters, you're going to get your autumns, you're going to get your summers, you're going to get, summers are representation of good times, and winters are like the hard times. The seasons come around. You can't avoid the season, but you can change the way that we react to them. You know what I mean? You can prepare yourself for these times. And remember, like, you know, once you have that knowing that, you know, sometimes things are going to be a little bit rough, you then not almost expect it, but you're prepared. It's a different type of vibe when you're prepared for something when you're not. And when you're prepared and you're ready to learn and grow, you can use them times to be able to really cultivate more positive things within your life in the future as well. Number 18, reach out to your family, friends and healers, whoever you need to help you through the tough times, man. We're not expected to go through these horrible, tough times alone. And we'll all get times sometimes where things are not going so great. And, you know, we all go through difficult circumstances sometimes. And I think the thing is here is to really understand that we're all here for each other. And remember that your loved ones and the people that love you closely are here to be able to help you through them times. Don't ever feel like you're alone. You know what I'm saying? Because it's so important that we just, you know, feel like we're a part of something and we can, you know, rely on other people as well to be able to go to some friends, to be able to talk about how we're feeling. If they're real friends, I'll be there to support you for forever, man. Do you know what I'm saying? Number 19, learning how to say no. Like, saying no sometimes doesn't make you bad. It makes you smart. It does. If we said yes to absolutely everything we got requested, we have no time for ourselves. Remember, we got to work on ourselves first before we, you know, change anyone else. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's the route to all success in terms of like trying to find yourself. But remember, we've got busy schedules, man, with people. We've got a lot of things to do. We've got a lot of things to create on this earth. So sometimes learning just to say, no, man, sorry, mate, I'd love to help you out, but I just can't. I wish you all the best, what you're doing, but unfortunately, mate, on this one, I can't help you out. Maybe in the future, I may be able to. And like, it's not even being nasty. It's just having that self-respect for your time. Like, end of the day, if you don't respect your time, like, end of the day, it will go from you. If you don't appreciate your own time and you're giving it away for free, and you know you don't respect your value, you're not going to get what you want. You're not going to. If you don't even appreciate your own value, you can't even put value in terms of your own time. You know what I'm saying? Like, the universe is not going to allocate it for you. Remember, the universe will transmute anything that you believe. So, like, remember to say no, man. Like, guys, it doesn't make you bad. It makes you smart. You know what I mean? Number 20, forgive yourself. You're like, like, you got to know yourself as well. Sometimes we feel bad, we feel embarrassed, we feel ashamed from our failures, and it comes from school. It comes from the, like, you know, like, when we're growing up, we can't make any mistakes, you know, and if we do, we're made to look really bad and feel really bad from it. And also comes from parents as well. Like, subconsciously, don't mean no harm by it, but it's just something that as well really sort of cultivates. But we know that to get on in life, you need to make mistakes. It's something that you have to, because without the mistakes, we don't learn, man. We don't learn from we don't learn from what's going on. So remember, like, always forgive yourself. You know what I'm saying? Don't be too soft on yourself either, though. Don't go too far the other way, and like cover yourself up in cotton wool. But like, just try to, you know, if you've done something wrong, just like, you know, understand where you can learn from it, so you don't make the same mistake, and forgive yourself, man. Stop going back to that past moment. Like, how many times in the past when I made a mistake, I'll keep dwelling on it. Oh, I wish I'd done this. I wish I'd done that. I should have done this. And like, end of it, it's gone, man. Like, you just got to say, it's not I should have. It's like, right, next time I will. That's what you need to be able to take into the future. And when you've done that, you've won, because you've gained something out of that experience. You've gained wisdom, which you can't buy. You can't buy that. Every time you make a mistake and you gain wisdom, that's, you know, future bank checks being deposited tenfold. You may not see it now, but like, trust me, that lesson you learn is not going to manifest itself again. So remember all the mistakes you would have made. How much would that cost you? It's hard to even fathom, you know what I mean, if the mistake was bad. Right, okay, number 21. Write everything down in a journal. Like, man, our heads are swimming with thousands of thoughts. That process, I don't even know what the study was. I think it was like 1 million thoughts or something like that. Probably a trillion or something like that. That pass through our heads every single day. How crazy is that? That's insanity. When we can't control what's going on in the brain, and it's just so crazy and it's so volatile, you know, up and down, this and that. So it's so like good. Like, this is something that Carly taught me, actually. It's called a brain dump, where all your thoughts in your head, all the things that you've got, you just get a piece of paper, scrap a bit of paper, you write them down. Like, all the things you've got to do. Like, sometimes, usually it's like, I've got to do this, I've got to do that, I've got to do this. Write them all down. Calm yourself down. Like, stop panicking, because that panic is not going to achieve anything. Like, so write everything down on a piece of paper. Then understand what task you actually need to do and what you don't. Generally, we worry about stuff we don't even need to worry about now, because we're always thinking ahead, too far ahead. We need to be in the present moment. We need to be thinking about what do we need to do now. So within that moment, you'll be able to segregate them tasks and say, right, okay, this, and this, priority, definitely need to do them now. Right, this, that, and that, no, don't even need to worry about that till 3 days. You know what I mean? You're worrying about, like, Thursday's stuff on Monday. It's crazy. Like, it's not Thursday yet. Worry about it then. You know what I mean? But it's just our way of, we're getting our own way, man, in terms of what we're thinking. So journaling is really important in terms of writing our thoughts down. And, like, trust me, like, the reason why we get so many headaches is because we've got so much stuff going through our brain, man. Do you know what I mean? Like, no matter how crazy, like, it is to write down, like, just write it. It's so important. It's so difficult to do when you're not, though. But just do it, man. And number 22, turn off, turn inwards, grab a cup of, like, green tea or even cup of tea. Sit down on your own. Like, no TV, no distractions, just you. And just be. And just think about the beautiful things in your life. What your dreams are. Contemplating where you want to go and where you want to be. And, like, see yourself, visualize yourself in the future. It's just doing so much for you in the present, I promise you. Because what you're doing is giving yourself that appreciation and self-love from a future perspective to say thank you. Thank you for looking after, visualize your future self saying thank you to you. Thank you so much. Like, visualize that for looking after this version of the future. Thank you for doing that and focusing on it. And trust me, it'll give you the most incredible feeling, man. It's like a great way, you know what I'm saying, to really elicit these feelings. You know what I'm saying? So number 23, give up the need for approval from others, man. You can be like the most beautiful journey and it's your journey. And someone else might say, oh, well, I don't believe in that and what you're doing, right? Stop looking for approval. Like, stop seeking validation for what you're doing. Just know that you don't need to tell anyone your dreams. You just need to act upon them. Like, I feel like sometimes like we tell the wrong people, man. We want to shout about it. I get that because we feel good inside, but turn that energy into actions and doing rather than just speaking about it all the time. You know what I mean? So just give up the need for approval, honestly. And number 24 is be realistic. There's no person on this earth that is happy with like every single moment of every single day. Even the most spiritual people go through problems. Like, everyone's human, man. And this is what we forget sometimes. We see the successful people like, oh my God, their life is so brilliant, it's so beautiful, they got this, they got that. But remember, what they've got doesn't define who they are and how they feel. Like, okay, it's great, it might really help them, it might add some value to their life, but it's not the end all, man. Like we know that money and things are things. Like, spiritually inwards, they may not be feeling how we perceive them to be. And we should be judging that anyway. You know, we should be focusing on our life. So be realistic, man. Like, and once we do that, we'll find that inner peace again. And this is the last one, guys. 25, get creative and express yourself in whatever way you like. So this is where I said practice the 8 things per month. It could be painting, writing, sculpting, building, music, skating, in my case, anything. Dad said, like, leave your inner critic away. Your inner critic at this point is going to be like, what the hell are you doing, man? Like, when I was skating, I was like, what the hell? What are you doing this for? It's embarrassing. What are you doing this? You look stupid. Like, all these stupid things it was telling me. And I was like, no, I'm doing this. I'm doing this, man. I'm getting in for the kill. And do you know what? That's what I do now. I'm just so the other way. I'm like, I can never get rid of that voice. You never will. Like, no, don't get rid of it. It's a part of who you are. You know what I mean? But you can oppose it. And, you know, the more you oppose it, the more willpower and strength it's going to be able to give you. So, guys, that is my guide for self-love. I apologize if I've run on again. I really keep trying to keep these like 25, 30 minutes, but I don't think that's... to be honest, I lost concept of space and time again, but that's what I love about these podcasts, man. This is what I honestly... so much passion goes into this. And guys, please follow me on my new socials. That's Will's Way 33. That's WILLSWAY 33. And my personal account as well, WillStar22 with 1L. That's WILSTAR22. So follow me on the brand new socials as well, guys. And please, like I said, I'm still doing this. You guys, the first next 5 people, I've had 3 people leave a review as well, so I've sent off them some brand new copies of the Free Magic EP, my latest EP. So guys, like, the next 5 people that leave a review on this podcast, if you leave me your socials in the review or somewhere to get in contact with you, I will send you one of these EPs free of charge. They're usually £10 as well. And guys, honestly, I really appreciate it. I hope this adds some value to your life, and I hope you can just start practicing the small things every day. Remember, it's a marathon, man. It's no sprint. Like, don't expect to get there in a week, man. That's too much pressure. Like, keep the pressure off you. And do you know what? Even try. There's a big list of I'll give you there, and like maybe 2 may apply to you, maybe 1, maybe all 25. But like, just do what makes you feel good, man. That's what you like. Remember, like, you don't have to listen to anything I say. Just like, I always try to give the advice, do what feels right for you, because no one can tell you how you feel. Like, and you got to use that inner compass to be able to guide you through life. And when you actually are able to do that with faith, man, your life just turns into a beautiful version of events, and it's just everything that you look at sort of almost changes in this perception and what it is. You know what I'm saying? So, guys, I've got to love you. I've got to leave you there. I hope you guys have a great weekend. I'm sending love, and of course, I'm sending light. Take care. In the quantum, I've been searching in the quantum,